Hello, everyone. I'm back with another tier list because these are easy to make and they're actually kind of fun. Um, Sorry about that. I'm gonna be doing Pixar this time because I've been watching Disney Plus a lot and I've been rewatching a whole lot of Pixar movies. So let's go ahead and rank these. And I feel like, hmm, anyway, let's just go ahead and start. Let's start with A Bug's Life. I actually just recently watched A Bug's Life a few days ago, and I'm not sure what to say about it. It's a good movie. It's a different take on the ant and grasshopper story, along with what was it, like the Magnificent Seven or something like that. I think it was like a okay. I think this movie is like a mixture of the ant and the grasshopper story, the the Three Amigos, and like the Seven Samurai, if I'm correct, if that's what it's called. But yeah, it's a solid movie. One of Pixar's first. In fact, I think it was their second movie that they made. Um, I don't know how outstanding it is now compared to all the other movies that have now come out under Pixar. But you know what? I am gonna give it a solid B. B. All right, Brave. I actually just watched the movie Brave today, and I was actually a lot more impressed with it the this time that I watched it than when I first watched it. Because when I first watched it, in my mind, when the mom got turned into a bear, spoilers, I kind of just thought this is Brother Bear except with the mother and daughter. But as I was watching it, I kind of stepped away from that idea, and I kind of realized that this was something a lot different. Yes, the mom turns into a bear, but she turns into a bear because her. Okay, let me see if I can get my thoughts straight here. It's a very, I think it's a very accurate picture of a mother daughter relationship, especially when that mother and daughter are very stubborn and know what they want, if not for themselves, what they, well, if the mom knows what she wants for her daughter, and the daughter wants to find out what she wants for herself. But of course, parents always want to give their children something more, something that they didn't have, but don't always stop to think, is this something that my child wants? But then the child sometimes doesn't stop and think, is this thing that they're trying to give me, it might not be something I want, but is it something I need? And in that dynamic, the mom learns how, to loosen up, to listen to her daughter, and her wants and her needs. And even though she's the mom and she, quote unquote, knows best, she needs to be able to listen to her daughter and know what she wants. And for Meredith, the daughter, she needs to learn how to not be so selfish. She knows that there's more to where she is than just herself. And she learns that it's not just me, there's other people at stake here, there's other people who look to me. I mean, I want to be my own person, but I also want to do right by my family. And when Meredith and her mother both come to an understanding of that, that's when there's more relief and more freedom between the two of them. And Meredith doesn't feel like she's being so restricted all the time, and the mother doesn't feel like she's trying to wrangle like a cat and try and get her to like follow tradition and this and that and the other thing. When they finally listen to each other and form, form that bond, that's what I got like the second time, like after I kind of disjointed it from like it's just Brother Bear but with, you know mom and her daughter. And what I actually noticed in this last time that I watched it is that, okay, at first, it seems like Meredith and the mother relationship is kind of strained, but the relationship with her and her dad, it seems pretty healthy. Like it seems like they listen to each other, they understand each other a lot more than I can't what's her name, Eleanor. Then Eleanor understands, Meredith, and it seems like they have a really good connection there. But my phone is buzzing. But in the beginning, the mom and the daughter, they're not listening to each other. But near the end of the movie, she almost has kind of like this same struggle with her dad when he won't listen to her about the bear not being just a bear but being, her mother or his wife. And even, I guess, how would I put that? Like, what is? Let me find out what's going on my phone. Oh my gosh, you asleep? Come on, that is okay. All right, I told him I was asleep. Maybe he won't text me again. But I thought that was interesting that at the end of the movie, she has a similar struggle, briefly, like with her dad, about, like listening to her, and even if it's something that he doesn't understand, it's important. I don't know, to listen to your children. If you have children, listen to them. Oh my goodness! Give me a second. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so I've gone on enough about Brave. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna. I don't feel like it deserves the A spot. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in B, but I'm gonna put it above Bug's Life. Cars. All right. So there was once a time where Pixar could really do no wrong, and Cars was the next movie in that lineup. Previously where they could do no wrong, and then there was Cars, and then I really just wanted to love this movie just because it was Pixar. But if I'm honest with myself, I'm not that into Cars. Like Cars, not Cars the movie. Uh, I mean, I get the story, I understand it. I mean, it makes sense, but I think this one was it's not a bad movie, but I think, now this is just, a theory, but I think this franchise was made to sell toys. Yeah. Regardless, I always thought the animation in this was absolutely beautiful. I remember watching it and them driving on the road, and I'd look at the movie and I'd be like, that looks just like a real road. And I thought that was kind of cool. But I've heard so many people online just complain about how the Cars world doesn't make sense. That all the other Pixar universes, in some sense, has logic to it, and that the Cars world has no logic whatsoever. To that, I say, who cares? Okay, the Cars world does not need to have logic to it. It just needs to be a movie. It's just, it's a movie that works. It's not a bad movie. It sells toys. Kids like it. Children, small children, that this movie is actually aimed towards, is not going to dissect it to make sure that there's complete logic in the world of Cars. Like, how do the cars eat? How do the cars reproduce? How do the cars fit in that human-sized building? Who cares? Okay, this imagine that this world is actually, you know what? I have a theory. I have a theory. Imagine the world of cars is in the imagination of a child who is playing with their toy cars. Just like Andy whenever he's playing with like Woody in Toy Story 3, that opening, Cars is is that. It's a child playing with cars and telling these stories. That's what Cars is, and that's why the logic is flawed, because it's the logic of a child. And that's just a theory. A film theory. Oh my gosh, I can't do it with a straight face. But anyway, that's my theory. That's my Cars theory. Alright, so Cars, it's an okay movie. I'm gonna put it on C. Cars 2. I actually have not rewatched Cars 2. What is... Something is stuck in my pants. Oh, what is that? It is a piece of Christmas popcorn. Okay, where's the trash can? You guys thought I was gonna eat it, didn't you? Okay, Cars 2. I actually, like I said, I haven't rewatched Cars 2, but I wanted to, but I also thought that if I rewatched it now, that I wasn't gonna have the oomph to wanna, not the oomph, but like the I wouldn't have wanted to stay awake to make this video. I would have wanted to just go to sleep after Cars 2, but of what I remember of Cars 2, and sticking with my theory that the Cars world is actually a child just playing with toy cars, it's not that bad. Okay? I know it's a very frustrating movie, and even so, I am a sucker for the storyline where the unlikely hero type character ends up with a girlfriend. Okay? Because I think that's sweet. I think whenever, like, Mater got a girlfriend, I don't care how unlikely or contrived it was, I went, oh, that's so sweet, he's got a girlfriend. Okay? I love that nonsense. It's just, I'm sorry, it's a guilty pleasure, I suppose. I don't know. But I love that nonsense. I thought it was very amusing. I mean, the whole spy aspect of it didn't. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I didn't care. I enjoyed watching it. I mean, I know it's very, suspension of disbelief. The actual spy car thinks that Mater is just pretending or spying to be like an old tow truck or whatever. He's just like in character of his undercover position, and it kind of like goes on for too long. But just all of it together, I mean, I don't hate this movie like everybody else does that talks about it. I kind of like it for its ridiculousness. I mean, I know there's a mystery in it that, I mean, a toddler could probably solve, but the first time I watched it, I wasn't thinking about it. And when it finally revealed it, I was like, oh, hey, that makes sense. What a nice little twist. I don't watch a lot of spy movies, so this is my introduction to spy movies. I guess it's a good first step, or at least a first step. But regardless, like I said, I don't hate this movie. I think it's okay. I'm still sticking with the logic that the Cars world is actually in the mind of a child playing with toy cars. Cars 2, where am I gonna put Shoe Cars 2? Because I'll be honest, there are things about it that I don't like the ending chase with Lightning McQueen just going after Mater. That was weird to me. I didn't really like that. It was awkward and a bit cringy. Um, so it's definitely not on the same level as the first Cars. So as much as I've said that I really enjoy this movie, and I don't think it deserves as much hate as it gets because it's just a ridiculous premise in and of itself. So just have fun with it. But I'm gonna put it on D. Ooh, excuse me. Um, Cars 3. Uh, a lot of people say this is the Cars 2 movie that we should have gotten rather than the other Cars. Um, I like it. Um, it definitely veers away from the complete ridiculousness that was Cars 2. Right, googly moogly. I'll be back. Anyway, okay. So, Cars 3. Good movie. Um, I'm gonna put it on C right here. Okay. Coco. I like Coco. I have more to say about it. I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. Um, so there are a lot of things in Coco that I actually think are kind of convenient or kind of like a little contrived. Um, like how, what was it? Miguel just kind of knew that, when what's his name said, "I'll move heaven and earth for you." It was just, hey, that's a line from a movie. Um, to kind of like connect the idea that what's his name killed Hector. And I think it's kind of funny that I can't remember his name because we're supposed to forget him by the end of the movie. So I'll go on with that. What was his name? Something de la Cruz. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of weird how that's how he kind of like came to the conclusion that he killed him. And uh, so when De La Cruz thinks that Miguel is gonna go back to the land of the living and tell everyone that um, he killed Hector, I'm trying to remember if that was before or after Miguel had learned that Hector was actually his great great grandfather. Because if it was before, then what the heck would De La Cruz actually have to worry about? Because, oh, Miguel's gonna go back to the land of the living, and he'll be like, oh, hey, this dude killed this other guy. And they're gonna be like, what are you talking about? I mean, was he really a threat to his reputation? So that was kind of that whole scenario seemed a little like so let's see. Also, I feel like De La Cruz didn't really have a good reason or motivation to kill Hector because I mean he could have stole his songs, without killing him. He could have like knocked him out and then took his music, and then Hector would have woke up and he says, "Oh, my music is gone," and then he's gonna say, "To heck with it, I'm gonna go back to my family." But so the reason why he killed Hector seemed a little off. Let's see. I like the music. I love the music, and I am so white, but I I like Un Poco Loco, and of course I like the Remember Me song, and it's a good movie. I just have a few like issues with it about like why this didn't seem right. Oh well, I don't know if that would. Okay. So when Mama Imelda or whatever her name is, uh, gave Miguel the blessing the first time, she said like, oh wait, let me back up a step. Miguel ended up in the land of the dead because he stole from the dead. He took the guitar, and when Mama Imelda tried to uh, give him her blessing with all the stipulations, um, he went back to the land of the living and immediately tried to take the guitar again and ended right back in the land of the dead. So it's not that the stipulations were you must give up music. It was that he took something from the dead, and that's why he went back the first time and the second time. But at the end of the movie, when he's back in the land of living, even though Imelda did not put any conditions or stipulations on this last blessing, he still took the guitar. He still took from the dead, and this time it did nothing. He's just allowed to steal from them now because he learned a lesson about family. So that's what I'm wondering. It's like, why didn't he end up back in there a third time? Because he stole from the dead a third time. I mean, is it because he learned that it's actually his great great grandfather's guitar, in which it should like pass down to generations? It would end up being his guitar. But if that's the case, why didn't he not get sent into the land of the dead the first time? Because technically, it still would have been his great great grandfather's guitar, so it still would have through heritage would have been his. So, with that logic, he either should have not gone into the land of the dead at all, or he should have ended up back in the land of the dead after he stole it a third time. And that's that. Anyway, it's a good movie. I'm gonna put it on B before Brave. Get out of here, Brave. Finding Dory. Finding Dory is a movie that I don't think needed to exist, but it was a decent enough movie. What I don't like about it, though, is I think Nemo is a little jerk through the whole movie. All he does is talk back to his dad, tell him that his ideas are stupid, that he should think more like Dory because Dory's cooler than his dad. And there's this one line where Marlin's all like, "Who crossed the entire ocean to save you?" Or "Who crossed the entire ocean?" And then Dory goes, "Nemo did." Nemo didn't do that. Nemo was in a baggie in a what's it called that holds soda? An ice chest, and just ended up in a dentist's office. He didn't travel through nothing. He was taken there. The one who traveled across the entire ocean was Marlin. So what are you talking about when you say who traveled across the entire ocean? Nemo did. No, he didn't. Anyway, so I had a problem with that. I am really fed up with Animal jerry rigs a car to drive it. Especially this one. It was just. I mean, I liked it in Toy Story 2. And, then I saw it in this movie, which apparently is a go-to thing for Pixar people to do, is let's have some small characters or animals drive a car. Ha ha! Wacky hijinks. Anyway, I guess I'm stuck in my throat. It just, how long can an octopus stay out of water? I mean, I'm not gonna look that up, but I'm just saying. didn't. The I mean, the driving the car scene was just like one more bang on the the nail of the coffin, and then Toy Story 4 was the last one that just nailed it right down, because that one was absolutely ridiculous. Why do I sound like that? Anyway, so Finding Dory didn't need to exist. It was okay. I, I mean, granted, there was a story that could be told, but I don't think it had to be. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this on C. I'm gonna put it behind Cars 3. Finding Nemo now. That is the first one, wonderfully original. I loved it. Everything was perfect. I mean, just the relationship between Nemo and his dad. It felt real. I just, I mean, of course, the Pixar movie, so it starts the trend of making you cry at the beginning, and it's just a trip all around. So I mean, Finding Nemo, the first one, uh, this is the first one that I'm gonna put on A. Yeah, Finding Nemo, I'm gonna put you on A. Inside Out, I really, really, really like this movie. I mean, maybe that's too many reallys, but I do like this movie. I have a slight problem with it though. With this movie being all about emotions, sometimes I feel like Riley is just blank. Like, even, you know, when she's mad, she's kind of just like a whatever, like kind of like a dull passive aggressive mad. And I mean, in her head, I suppose there's anger going all blah and all like fiery, and she's just so like, I mean, and that's it. I mean, that, like, what she's showing in her head is not something, is not showing on like what's on the outside. Um, I just, I mean, and the most emotion I think, like, frankly, I think I saw out of her was at the end of the movie, whenever she, when sadness and joy kind of come together and like create this wonderful like melancholy moment with her and her parents, where she's sad because, all these things are gone, but she still has her family and all that stuff. And that's the most emotion I see in her face, and then everything else is just kind of, it's like, the feeling, it's there, but it feels more like a blank slate type there, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I might be wrong, but that's my take from that. But I still really like this movie. I'm gonna put this on A as well. Is it as good as Finding Nemo? Should I put it on S? Should I put it on S? I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna put any of these on S, because as much as I love these movies, there's not a one of them that where I would say that like that's like my movie. I would watch it like a bajillion times. I mean, I can think of TV shows that I would like put on S if I was doing a tier list like that, like Gravity Falls or SpongeBob or something like that. But with all these Pixar movies, I can't think of any of them being more than an A, except for maybe one of them, which we'll get to. But Inside Out, I'm gonna put on A, and I'm gonna put it below Finding Nemo though. You know what? I don't think I even mentioned a problem that I had with Finding Nemo. All these movies, there's been something that has kind of irked me about it, that I've been able to go on a tangent kind of rant about, except for Finding Nemo. I didn't say anything negative about Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo, the story just flows so beautifully. and just so naturally, and all the characters are wonderful. I'm gonna put Finding Nemo on S. Monsters Inc. I like Monsters Inc. The Scream Machine, the Scream Extractor. What did it run on? I'm sorry. Does the Scream Extractor run on screams? Uh, can it intake more screams with the extracting point or whatever than it uses? Because that was a big plug that got pulled out of the wall. And how is it that in the entire history of monsterdom that a child has not just spontaneously laughed? Hmm. And when they were banished, I know they were banished like pretty remote area. I mean, obviously, in the Himalayas, but even so, they put them pretty close to where people would be. But then again, they still think they're well. Mike and Sully don't think the people are poisonous anymore or toxic or whatever. But the other monsters don't know that. So like Bigfoot and the Abominable Snowman want to stay away from people. Hmm. Anything else? Nah, I like this movie. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on. Oh man, this is so hard. Is it? It's not better than Inside Out. I'll put it on A. Monsters U. This is another movie that I think gets too much hate. Even if it is just like a college, buddy movie, I still really love how Mike and Sully's, dynamic like begin. That Sully is you know, the character who has all the talent, but not really the the studious type, and Mike is the one who really wants something, but he just doesn't have I suppose like the physique for it, and it doesn't matter how much he studies or how much he knows about something. There's just something about him that is missing to have the whole package, and that's kind of sad because I mean there are some people out there that kind of do everything to try and follow their dreams, just miss it by that because of something about themselves that they can't change, like no matter how much they want to try. And I think that even though Mike kind of knew this about himself, he still put forth all like all he had to try. And I really love the line that when Sully said, "You're not scary, but you're fearless." I don't know why. I love that. And whenever they're stuck in the human world, and when Sully's all like tries to like relate to Mike, but Mike's all like don't do that. You don't know how I feel. And I just I don't know. I love that conversation between those two, and I felt like it was so real, and I don't know why this movie people hate on this. They don't hate on it. People don't. like this movie um, as the first one, and I've heard people say that this one kind of messes up the lore of the monster world, and I don't think it does at all. Like I think it makes complete sense that you know there would be a class to like build doors or you know learn how like the scream canisters work or something like that. And the only thing that I don't really like, even though it was a big pivotal moment in the whole movie, was when they generated scream from the other side of the door. That right there, because the door is the portal, and if the portal is closed, it doesn't matter how much you scream on the other side. It's not going to reach the monster world if the monster world portal isn't open. So that I didn't really buy, but I kind of understood why they did it like that, to kind of like prove that Mike and Sully are like better together with Mike and all his know-how and how to do things, and Sully with his I guess his face. But that part I didn't really like, but everything else I thought was wonderful. So I mean I had problems with the first one as well, but those were more like nitpicks, and this one's kind of like a eh. I'm gonna put this one on A as well because I really like it that much. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's not as good as the original, but I still like it. All right, Ratatouille. This is one that I hear like so many people love, and I just think it's all right. Um, I mean, when you take a character that's obviously a rat, and if you want to make a story around that rat, you want to take that rat out of the area of which a rat would be in, or make him uncomfortable in his environment as just a typical rat. So, I mean, in order to make a story, you either need to make a character, you know, different in a place where everybody's kind of just expected to be a certain way, or you take a character who's comfortable where they are and put them in a situation where they're not comfortable. So, what do you do with a rat? Well, it's a rat. Rats aren't supposed to be in the kitchen. They're disease-ridden, filthy animals. So let's make this rat wanna know how to cook. It just kind of seems too easy just to come up with. It's like saying, let's see, there's like a bird. Birds fly, but this bird doesn't fly. And then you have the movie Polly. But actually, Polly, I think the first reason why he didn't fly was because his wings were clipped. But anyway, or you just kind of make I think the word is juxtaposition. Or maybe, or you have like a snail, but the snail wants to go is slow, but the snail wants to go fast. Then you got Turbo, or you have a bad guy, but the bad guy doesn't want to be a bad guy. He wants to be a good guy. And then you have Wreck It Ralph, and I mean that's a good movie. I'm not dissing Wreck It Ralph, but I'm just saying there's always that character. The character is this, but oh no, the character wants to be the opposite. And I kind of think that's kind of an easy thing to come up with, but it's a more difficult thing to execute well. Not that I think Ratatouille executes it poorly, I just think it executes it averagely. There's something on my favorite part of the movie is when the chef, the sous chef, I don't know his real name, gets Linguini drunk to try and tell him about the rat, or try and tell him about Remy. That's my favorite part of the movie. Romance seems a little forced. I mean, I'm pretty sure they actually care about each other, but I didn't really like that. Um, That's all I have to say about that. It's not a bad movie. I just don't like it that much. Um, but I will say I would rather watch Ratatouille than Cars, so I'll put Ratatouille on C. Oh, sorry. All right, next, The Good Dinosaur. Now, The Good Dinosaur, I think gets a lot of flack for being one of the worst Pixar movies, and that's actually not saying much because it's a beautiful movie, and I've actually watched it several times in the last week or so because my son likes it. My 2-year-old likes to watch it, and after watching it so many times, I've kind of come to appreciate it a whole lot more for what it is rather than what we expected it to be. We have kind of expected Pixar movies to have like make you cry at the beginning, have these complex ideas spelled out in very simple ways that, are very deep, but, children can learn from them as well. And to have just that one heart wrenching moment just makes you want to cry, like in the at the end, but it's like super sweet. I mean, that's kind of what we have expected these Pixar movies to be, and what The Good Dinosaur is a very simple boy and his dog story. And if you look at it just as that, it's a good movie. I think it's really good. I think the expectations we put on Pixar movies, that if they don't meet that standard, then oh, it's a bad movie. Oh my gosh, this is the worst Pixar movie. I mean, yes, if you're an adult, you can like see where this movie is going from like 10 miles, like a mile away. But if you're a child and you're watching this is a very I think magical movie. I think that it it has a few things that I think the movie could have done without, but I really just I really love this movie as a whole. And I'm trying to give more examples. It's just because I mean everyone knows the story that Arlo is a coward. He's frightened easily, but he wants to prove to his family that he can make his mark and that he can overcome his fear. But he's having a really hard time doing that because on not only just like having this fear, he also has a really good heart, and he shows mercy and compassion to this critter or Spot, the little boy who gets stuck in the trap and kind of sees him struggling, and he doesn't want him to die. I mean, I know there's this thing of like, well, who's gonna let like a child die? Well, to Arlo, this is just a critter. I mean, even if it wasn't a little boy, it was like a different kind of critter, like the little fox with the big ears. I think even if Arlo saw that critter struggling, and he probably wouldn't want that one to die either. And so I mean, it's believable that Arlo would at first blame Spot for his father dying, but at the same time, he knows that it's really not his fault. I mean, it's kind of the dad's fault for being a dumb dinosaur and being all like, oh, there's a big old storm coming. We're gonna go get this stupid animal. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of falling down in this movie. I want to do a count of how many times Arlo falls off a cliff, falls in the water, or gets hit by something. I mean, he's had to have fallen in this movie by close to 15 to 20 times. The part where he uses his tail as a whip was kind of stupid, but still kind of endearing, still kind of cute. Um, but I mean, yes, this movie has problems, but if you kind of take that away and just look at it for what it is, a very sweet story, a boy and his dog story, then it's a completely passable movie. And I don't think we should hate on it for being, a good movie. Everyone is kind of hating on it because it's not a spectacular movie. It is the Good Dinosaur movie. It is a good movie. Okay, so I'm going to put personally, oh man, I'm still gonna put the Good Dinosaur on C. I'm gonna put it above Ratatouille. The Incredibles 2. I think The Incredibles 2 had a great idea and not so great execution. I really wish they did a whole lot more with that villain and with the ideals of that villain and what she stood for. But I feel like they kind of just glossed over it so quickly that it didn't really sink in about what she was actually saying. And the the movie, I mean, it was good, and I also kind of feel for the sister when she says, like, if dad just would have gone into the safe room instead of trying to call like a superhero. I mean, I kind of wish they would have explored more on that idea, where maybe the brother would have been like, you know what, maybe you're right, maybe we shouldn't solely rely on superheroes all of the time, that we should be able to fend and protect ourselves as well, with the superheroes being there, when they obviously when they can. But it's like relying on your failsafe to be your only means of, you know of defense. Your failsafe should be there for if your first line of defense does not work, or something like that. But I kind of wish they would have gone into that more. Like when the brother was all like, "I strongly disagree." I was like, "Okay, you strongly disagree? Oh, we're not going to talk about why you disagree? Okay, fine." Because I just didn't like that. And also, this whole idea of like, superheroes are legal again. How about superheroes don't become legal again? And but they're this group of kind of like vigilante type superheroes that say, "Hey, who cares what the law says? We need to do what's right, and that's that we need to help people, whether they want us to or not." But I know that sounds kind of iffy, but and I mean, there would be a good dynamic in there of like some of the superheroes that might want to go a little bit too far, some of the superheroes that don't aren't quite sure. I mean, there could have been this great kind of like Civil War type thing, just like in Captain America Civil War. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, because like some of them want to follow the law. They want to sign these Soviet Accord, or the Soviet Accords. The was it Soviet? The not the Soviet, the Sokovia or whatever Accords. And some of them don't want to sign them because, hey, we need to be kept in check. It's like, we can't always be kept in check, because sometimes we need to break the rules in order to do what's right. But we can't break the rules because then blah, 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 we have too much power. And there's a good argument there, and I feel like it gets glossed over with the "I strongly disagree." Oh, we're not gonna expand on that, and then it's just so. That's my thought on that. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this on C. No, I'm gonna put it on B. C. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on C. Um. Uh. I would watch the Good Dinosaur. Let's see. You know what? Actually, I would watch Ratatouille rather than this, because I actually haven't watched this recently. I just kind of remember. The first Incredible movies is great. I like it. I liked it when I was a kid. I like it more as an adult. I think it encompasses everything about the characters and the superhero whole aspect of it a whole lot better than the second one, because I think, like I said, I think it glosses over some things like too quickly. I think The Incredibles, the first one, does a whole lot better of displaying everybody's feelings and emotions, I suppose, and not just kind of cutting off somebody like in mid explanation or non explanation. I'm gonna put Incredibles in B, and I do like the movie. Am I gonna put it before Brave? You know what? I got a real newfound appreciation for Brave, so I'm gonna put it at the end. Toy Story 2. I like Toy Story 2. I think there's been a lot of people that talk Toy Story 2 already to death. If you watch movie channels and reviewers and whatnot, I think Toy Story 2 just spit does a good job. Kind of. Let's see what happens in the movie. Woody gets broke. Andy gets upset and doesn't want to take him to cowboy camp. Woody thinks that Andy's gonna throw him away, and then he has to make a choice whether to go back to Andy or go to the museum. That's the movie. Dude, this is a good movie. Why can't I think of anything to say about it? Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just put this on A. And I always want to watch this. Toy Story 3. Wait, it's not. I actually, I think I'm gonna put all the Toy Story movies on S. At least almost all the Toy Story movies. Um, I'm still gonna put it. I'm still gonna have Finding Nemo above Toy Story 2, because as great as I love this movie, it has that one scene where they're driving a car, so that's a thing. And I've already said that I'm kind of done to death with that trope. What are you doing? I don't want you to buzz. Okay. Toy Story 3. I think Toy Story 3 is better than Toy Story 2, and I, it was just a beautiful wrap up to like the trilogy, and then Toy Story 4 came along. I'm gonna put Toy Story 3 above Toy Story 2. Toy Story 4. For a movie that did not need to exist, it did have a very good story to tell. But this movie bothers me on so many levels because they're really playing fast and loose with the hiding from people so they can't see me, but I'm a walking trash can, so I don't think or a walking lunchbox. I don't think that's more inconspicuous than a walking cowboy doll. So, and they're just flipping, flying, and doodly bopping and everything all around the antique store, and people just must be looking down at their toes, because I think it's just the suspension of disbelief has been suspended too far. I don't believe that nobody sees these toys anymore. Um, what else? I don't like that Buzz is whittled down to a joke throughout the whole movie, where he just listens to the buttons of his inner voice or whatever. I mean, it's not like Buzz hasn't made decisions before. I mean, he's not stupid. I mean, even when he thought he was a space ranger, he had some level of intelligence. To make a move, do something, take action. He didn't have to like I can't do anything unless my button tells me to do it. Also, I hate the fact that it comes up with a whole bunch of BS catchphrases that were never established, that were things that he said. And no toy says that many things. The toy has maybe 30 to 50 phrases, but there's some that are kind of similar or whatever not. But I think that a lot of the phrases that he says were just, I don't know, they made those up. Also, these toys look very nice for being through everything that they've been through. I remember in the first Toy Story that you could kind of see, on Buzz, where some of his paint has kind of been grayed, and kind of where Andy has like where he held him to play with him, where the oil kind of like brings the paint off and kind of makes him look less shiny. It looked like he was a toy that was played with. But now with this, I mean, you can render every single scratch on Buzz Lightyear's like plastic, but darn it, if he other than that, don't he look new straight out of the box? I mean, and same thing with Woody. I mean, in the first movie, he got like a freaking burn mark on his forehead, and it just disappears. I don't think that's how burn marks work. I mean, I guess I can say in Toy Story 2, he got it fixed by the cleaner, but it was gone before then. And also in Toy Story 2, when he got his arm fixed and the stuffing was kind of puffy and bigger than the other arm. Toy Story 3, completely fine, exactly how it was before. And I don't know. Toy Story 4. Good movie that didn't need to exist. Had a few problems and annoying things that I didn't like about it. Toy Story 4 is going to go on the A list. But I would probably want to watch Toy Story 4 more than these three movies. Toy Story 1, first fully computer animated feature theater whatever movie. I'm going to forgive it for any animation errors. Solid movie all around. I mean, I don't think there was anything that really bothered me about Toy Story. No, it's good. I'm gonna put it up here, and I'm gonna put it. I like it, but I'll be honest. I like Toy Story 2 and 3 a little bit more. Up. The first time I watched Up, I I really liked the beginning, but then it was kind of the middle to the end that kind of lost me. I mean, people tell me that the bird represents a free spirit, which is Ellie, and Russell represents Carl when he was a kid because he also liked Adventure Caca. And Doug is a dog that talks. Anyway, it's still a good movie. I kind of have a problem with them walking a house through the jungle, though, because all I'm thinking is there's no way there's a clearing enough for that house to just float above them and not knock into trees, or the ropes and the stuff that they're using to walk with the house that it's not going to get tangled up in trees. Also, when they are standing on the plateau and they see Paradise Falls right over there, they could have just walked on the top of the plateaus. Why did they have to go into the jungle? I mean, I think there was like a divot, not like a canyon like right there. But I mean, they could have just like, all right, we are going to float over there. So pick your feet up and lean forward and we'll get there. And I guess if that happened, the movie couldn't happen. But I mean, it's still a cute movie. It's very sweet. The beginning is the best part. And I kind of get chills whenever the villain dies, because that villain, I mean, sometimes it's kind of like, ooh, did he really die? Could he return? No, he fell like a bajillion feet in the sky. So he did, especially since he's like 90 something. But just the thought of like falling from that height, knowing you're dead, and it's just, I don't like heights. Anyway, so Up, I'm going to put on. I'm going to put it on C, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it right here. The last one is Wall-E. I like Wall-E. However, I just recently watched Wall-E, and I got bored. It's not because it's a bad movie. It's just, it's a very easy movie to just kind of get up and walk away from. I mean, it's very sweet, and I mean, it's got a good and like environmental message, and as blatantly obvious as it is in the movie, it's. I like Wall-E. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put Wall-E. I'll put Wall-E on B, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the end here. All right. So this is my tier list, starting in the S rank for super amazing Pixar movies. Number 1, we have Finding Nemo, the movie that I could find no flaw in. If you could tell me a flaw in this movie, let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you you're wrong. Movie number 2 is Toy Story 3. This was a good movie, and I cried at the end. Toy Story 2, this was also a good movie, when no one's disputing that it's not. Toy Story 1, also a good movie, no one's disputing that it's not. Toy Story 4, a movie that did not need to exist, but for existing when it did not need to, it is a pretty good movie. Inside Out, it is a great movie with a wonderful dynamic of characters, with a very unemotional girl with very vibrant emotions inside her, but nonetheless a great movie. Monsters Inc., a great movie about two best friends who get into trouble and blah 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 blah. Still a good movie, and it's got a little girl in it, so it's super cute. Monsters U, a movie that I think should be more appreciated for what it is than for what it is not, and what people think it screwed up, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I think it's a good movie and I like it. Coco, I kind of just stopped saying numbers. That's 8. Number 9 on the B tier. Coco, a good movie with good songs, good heart, and some tears. A Bug's Life, a good movie with a misfit protagonist who does misfit things and pulls through in the end. Brave, a mother-daughter story that is a whole lot better than I think people give it credit for. The Incredibles, a superhero family movie with super awesome stuff going on and a good villain. Wall-E, a movie about a barren trash land of an earth with a little robot on it that does things. Still a good movie. The Good Dinosaur, not the deepest movie in the bunch, but it is a very sweet and simple movie that I think deserves more credit than it gets, not just for its visual. Oh, another thing I was going to say about Good Dinosaur is that a lot of people don't like the designs of the dinosaur against the photorealistic backgrounds and environments, but I actually disagree with that. I actually think that the more cartoony looking dinosaurs actually makes them stand out more in the environment, which makes them more kind of vibrant and expressive characters. So I actually kind of like that they're more cartoony like that, because if they were more realistic type looking dinosaurs, then they kind of would blend into the background, and I don't think it would be as enjoyable to watch, especially for children. When the children that this movie is made for want to stay interested in the film, I think the designs they chose for Arlo and all the other dinosaurs are a whole lot more appealing for them. And with those dinosaurs on those realistic backdrops, I think actually complements it very well. So that's my thoughts on that. Ratatouille, a movie about a rat who wants to cook. The end. Up, a movie about an old man who wants to put his house next to a waterfall because he promised his dead wife he would do that. The Incredibles 2, a movie with a lot of untapped potential, but a good movie nonetheless. Cars, the first Cars, a movie that is a movie about cars that is a movie. Cars 3, Another movie about cars that is a movie about cars. Finding Dory, a movie about a fish with short-term memory loss that finds her family. And in the D rank is Cars 2, a movie about a side character who ends up accidentally becoming a spy. And then he gets a girlfriend because the girl thinks that he's a good spy, even though he's not actually a spy. And then he has to convince them that he's not actually a spy. And when he does, he finds out that there's a bomb on him and he has to get away with the bomb. So he drives away super fast backwards. And then his best friend tries to chase him and be like, hey, no, I need you to come here because you're my best friend. But he's all like, no, don't come near me. I'm the bomb. And then his best friend's like, I know you are the bomb. And then he's like, no, that's not what I mean. And then everyone explodes and dies. And I actually really enjoy watching it. And that is the Pixar tier list. And I was probably out of the frame for half of that because I was talking right into the microphone. But that is that, and this is this. Everything is great, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.